And welcome back, my fellow fiends, to Let's Play Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Last time we finished the Amala Temple, and the first reason has become fully realized. It has summoned its god to this vortex world, that being the reason of Musubi. Ironically enough, the reason based on isolation and solitude, well, we got played like a fiddle to fulfill that reason into summoning its god. Not sure if I really worded that the way I wanted to, but whatever. Off-screen, I did a little bit of training to gain a couple levels to get this guy. Once Hanuman gets all his skills, he evolves into Wukong. Wukong, on his very first level up after being evolved, he can get Hasohapa, which is a very powerful physical skill. It's an all-targeting physical skill that does HP-based damage, and it is actually really, really good. Like, it can do 400 damage to all enemies, and it has a pretty high crit rate. So I like having this around a lot. It is very great for encounters where the enemies do not resist physical attacks. It also has a very high HP cost. Now that generally is pretty undesirable, but there is going to be a fight where we want to be able to guarantee someone has really low HP, and Hasohapa is very handy for doing that. Now, the other thing that changed, of course, is that Asakusa now has enemies in the street, though there isn't really anything in the city proper for us to do. Where we want to go is Mifunashiro. I think you can talk to like a couple spirits and they'll point you here, but it's pretty obvious this is where we need to go, at least to me, I would think. It's the most major thing in Asakusa. I can't imagine where the followers of Yosuga would rather be, especially if they're not, occupying around the city. And yeah, it looks like things have gotten a little sour here. Now, in the process of leveling up Hanuman, obviously, since I cannot opt out of experience for the Demi-Fiend, since he is forced into the party, Demi-Fiend has also gained a couple levels. In the process of gaining those two levels, I have removed Tornado and Force Boost from the skill set, and instead we have Bolt Storm and Elec Boost, so now we are Elec experts. I also have Gehenna equipped at the moment, so that hopefully by the if not by the end of this part, then within the very near future, we can learn Magma Axis. Now, Magma Axis is not a random target skill. It is, in fact, a single target fire skill. It's also unique in being, as far as I'm aware, the only magic skill that costs HP to use. It is also the strongest magic skill in the game, particularly if you have the boost skill to power it up. So yeah, we can tell that Chiaki's followers are here. Now, Mifunashiro does not really have that many strong enemies in it. There are a handful of angels and stuff. There are some of the tougher enemies from the Amala Temple, like Dominion, Gogmagog, and hey, this is the one new guy we can run into, Shikioji. Shikioji is a demon that can nullify physical attacks. It is weak to fire. Not much else to say about him. I didn't even pay attention to what he was asking. Well, I pleased him by saying that. But yeah, otherwise, not too bad a demon. If you can get Void Fire onto it, that's a pretty good resistance to have. Wukong also nullifies physicals, and he also nullifies instant death attacks, so he's a really good demon. Probably his biggest weakness is that he does not nullify ailments, which can be annoying, but we'll have ways to work around that. Obviously, we have Daisojo to work around that, if we so need him. But yeah, other than that, there is not too much to Mifunashiro. There's not really any great treasure here. It's certainly not something that I feel is worth going out of your way. The one worthwhile treasure is directly on your path, so it's very easy to get. And yeah, lots of weak enemies here, so don't be surprised if the danger counter just keeps going back to yellow, as I have Stoma in effect. Here we get a magic mirror. That is, it's a treasure. I don't think I've used any mirrors. Anytime any situation where it would be good to use them, I kind of just forget that I have them. That's kind of the problem with those things being sporadically useful. Yeah, man, that's depressing to think about. Chiaki, based on what that guy said, seems to have a pretty low opinion of the mannequins also. And so Futomimi is directly confronting Chiaki right now. Let's see, I don't think there's anything in here. Yeah, it's gonna depend on how much experience we get from the boss, if I get a level up here or not. Man, these guys just have such a low opinion of the mannequins. Haven't they suffered enough at this point? You do really start to feel bad for them after a while. They just get dumped on and dunked on by everybody. Now, already relatively short into the dungeon, we've got our small terminal here. I am very sorry for the loud motorcycle revving noise in the background. That is kind of what you have to deal with when your apartment is street-facing. Let's just update our save here. Actually, pretty important that we save here for something that is a bit of a split that is coming up in the game at this particular moment, but we'll cover that when we get to it. Yeah, Mifunashiro is actually a really short dungeon. It's not even really a dungeon, honestly, since so many of the enemies here are just weak and you can easily get past them. Yep, just more reasons to pity them. I haven't really been drawing attention to it, but let me see if you can see it. Occasionally, yeah, you can see one right there. You'll see mannequins just fall down like they're being kicked off of a high cliff or something. Clearly, they are being educated on the Spartan way, which I guess is fitting for Yasuka. Also, good to know the Shikyojis can use Mamudon. I should probably be more concerned about that, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Life is fun when there are risks involved. At least that's what I tell myself. Okay, here we actually have the rest of the treasure for Mifunashiro. So here is just a couple life stones, and then there is a mystical chest that you can just barely see on the other side of the ladder. Of course, we need full Kagetsuchi, so one moment. Alright, at full Kagetsuchi, we can open up this mystical chest to get a diamond. Another great chakra, if I can think to go and trade it in. I just haven't been thinking to go back to Rags Jewelers too often. It's just kind of out of your way to do. Alright, what do we got waiting for us past here? We get stopped by a couple angels. Not even special ones, just a dominion and a power. Yeah, we're pretty awesome, although we're less than thrilled with the carnage that has happened here. Man, you guys are just cruel. This is a Darwinistic philosophy. I don't think it matters to deny these guys. Yeah, we'll see. There's going to be another dialogue choice coming up in a bit that actually does matter, but I don't think replying to these guys matters too much. But we'll see, we'll see. Alright, there is no other treasure to get here, so let's just head straight to where we need to, which is beyond that door. There are more mannequin corpses to see, but we will just let them rest in peace. So, looks like we can step onto this light, and, in the grand tradition of shining lights in video games, it teleports us. You know, it's just like when you defeat a boss in Ocarina of Time. And beyond here, it looks like Futomimi's last stand has not exactly gone well. And it looks like Chiaki is kind of reveling in the carnage that she is causing here. Although I will tell you, it is not particularly impressive to beat up on mannequins. It looks like at death's door, Futomimi is not that different from Isamu, just exploiting me for his own benefit. Well, and this is a unique dialogue prompt. This dialogue prompt only appears if you chose to support Yosuga earlier, when Chiaki explained the reason to you. If you did not, you will automatically advance to the next scene and fight a predetermined boss. Now, we could agree with Chiaki here, and we would actually be thrown into a battle with Futomimi. But that's not going to be the ending we're doing, although I will be showing that fight off. For right now, we're going to say we understand, but we do not agree. And it looks like Chiaki somewhat hurt by our decision. Sick some of her angel buddies on us, specifically the Seraphs, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel. Alright, so something I need to do that I actually forgot to is that we want to bring Daisojo in, just so we have some healing. Let me see. I'm going to... who to put him in over? I'll bring him in over White Rider. And we are going to throw up Tarukaja. We're going to pass on him, use a Terror Blade, and we're going to War Cry these guys to bring their offense down. And let's see, we'll throw up another Tarukaja. Luckily, now that I have Hasahapa... Oh, never mind. Yeah, Raphael, he likes to throw up barriers. Raphael has fire magic. Gabriel has... Let me see here. I had it in my notes. She uses electric and expel type attacks. Specifically damaging expel type attacks. So I don't think you have to worry about insta-death, though it wouldn't hurt to throw up... what is it? Tetrashot, just in case. I had to actually look at the name there to remember what it was. Alright, since they've got a physical barrier up, let's just focus on getting some of our magic ready. Unfortunately, yeah, so he's going to keep throwing up that physical barrier. I do have to be mindful of which one I'm targeting, since they do resist particular elements. I know Uriel is fire resistant. Let me see here. Which one was it that... yeah, Raphael likes to use Beast Eye, or... Actually, I think it might be Uriel who likes to use Beast Eye. I always get Uriel and Raphael mixed up. Let's see here. Just gonna have to pass since they have Tetrakarn up, and I can't guarantee the magic I have won't hit somebody who is immune to what I can do. So let's throw up the last Tarukaja here. We will Medea to get some of that damage off. And we will use Wind Cutter to focus down some of these guys. Let me see. I think Raphael doesn't resist wind. Okay, so yeah, we can do that on him. We'll pass again, and let's throw up a Tsukukaja. I have not seen these guys... Okay, that's good. I have not seen these guys use Deikija or Deikunda. I think they have access to some buffs aside from Tetrakarn and Makarakarn, but I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me. Okay, oh boy, that's some great damage. We're about to see even more good damage here. Check this out. Oh, nice! Alright, we'll throw up the Medea. Definitely want to refund some of the HP we have spent. Yeah, that's definitely the big thing you have to worry about with physical attacks. Very nice. Is spending too much HP. Okay, actually, we might just finish this off this turn. We'll see what happens. Okay, probably not, but we'll be pretty darn close by the end of this turn. Okay, wow, we actually did finish them off. Nice, that went amazingly well, actually. Alright, get our level ups here. Alright, cool. And Red Rider learns his final skill, Avenge. It is a counter-based skill. I believe it's the strongest counter skill in the game. Randomly counterattacks when he gets hit with a physical attack. I don't really want to give up anything for this. Maybe if I had a less packed skill set of good stuff, I would give it a shot, but nah, not worth it. Now, had we chosen to support Chiaki here, and after we had personally slaughtered Futomimi, we would be thrown into the Yosuga ending path, though if we supported any other reason, we would not necessarily be locked into Yosuga. But that's something I'll cover when we could potentially... Well, actually, no, I can cover right now. Basically, if you support multiple reasons, all of the dialogue choices throughout the game contribute points to each ending. and that pushes you to certain endings if you decide to support multiple ones. The easiest way to get a particular ending is, of course, just to support the one reason and not make it a competition between them. I'm kind of rambling. Anyways, Chiaki is taking the Magatsui of the mannequins. And it looks like she is successfully calling her god into the world. Man, 2 videos in a row, we have got real reasons fully realized. And in a similar light show, much like Isamu's, Chiaki's god has been called to this world, and she is one with them. I gotta be honest, I do not think Ball looks nearly as good as Noah. I always thought this one looks really silly. I kind of spoiled their name in advance, but yes, this is Ball, the god of Yosuga, and they look really goofy. So, I'm guessing the one that she referred to that already had risen was Noah. But what's this about one rising in Ginza? I can only assume that's going to be Hikawa bringing Shijima's god into existence. That might be something we have to check out. But now that her reason has been realized, Chiaki has left us, and we are dumped back into the Hall of Mirror, and we have to walk out of Mifunashiro. Now I'm going to get to the save point, and I'm going to update our save file, and then I'm going to load... Well, actually, I'm going to save in a separate slot, and I'm going to reload so we can see what the other option would have led to. Obviously, I've broadly explained it, but it's good to just show it. So let's do that. I'll just cut ahead to the dialogue choice again. Alright, here we are in an alternate reality. Let's support Chiaki here and engage in heinous acts. Futomimi is rather hurt that we would choose to betray him. And he decides to go out with at least a little dignity. Now, Futomimi is not too much of an encounter. He's very physically oriented, as you can see he has Warcry. Let me see, we're just going to... pass until we can actually get that dispelled. Luckily, Red Rider has access to Dekunda, so we'll throw that on, get rid of the Warcry, and excuse me. We'll just nail him with our elemental stuff. He's not a terribly difficult boss fight altogether. I believe he's physical resistant also. That Brutal Slash definitely did less damage than I would expect from what Wukong is capable of. Mute Gaze is just a nuisance, and as you can see, if he uses it on something that's immune to it, it doesn't help him at all. So yeah, we're just gonna totally dunk on Futomimi here. He is not much of a challenge in the slightest. I don't even think it's really worth it to bother setting up any buffs or debuffs. And I forget how much HP he has. It's not a lot, though. He cannot take too much punishment. Hey, do not decrease my offense. That is annoying. Man, the lunge is just such a terrible attack. Horrible accuracy. Okay, let's get a prominence in. Let's Dekunda that stuff off, and then we'll Bolt Storm him again. No, I just completely forgot what I was doing. Yeah, Dekunda. Okay, you almost done, Futomimi. This isn't as interesting as I was hoping. Wow, he has terrible accuracy. I'm not sure if he actually has, like, a passive penalty to it or something, but he is not doing so good on that front. You almost done, buddy? Man, I'll give him this. He has a lot of HP. Oh, never mind. And, in the end, he decides to become a potty mouth. Poor guy. But hey, we get a Balma Rising for killing him. That's a weird amount of experience for him to give. And at this point, the game plays out pretty similarly. We'll just see how it looks in the immediate aftermath. And I think this cutscene just starts up the exact same way, actually. Get some slightly modified dialogue to reflect the fact that we were the one who pulled the trigger there. And this is where it just plays out the complete same. Ball becomes formed at this point, so I will just cut back to the main playthrough and the playthrough that we're going to actually be following. Alright, here we are back in the, let's say the Prime playthrough, and we will be returning to the entrance of Mifunashiro. Now, one thing I want to note about the endings of this game is that if you lock yourself into a particular reason, or several reasons, you will not be able to get any of the endings that do not tie to the specific reasons, which I feel like should go without saying, but, you know, just for the sake of putting it out there. And, of course, when you have multiple reasons triggered or set as flags for your ending, they will have a sort of point system, and whichever one has the most points, that is the one that will put you into whatever ending for whatever reason you decide to support the most. But there is a way to override reason endings when you have already committed to a particular reason, and that is something we'll be going over probably in the near future. Now, Chiaki briefly mentioned that there is something going on in Ginza, most likely relating to Hikawa. That is not exactly the truth. It is relatively close to here, but where we need to go at this point, and you may have remembered this being mentioned in passing before, and I'm actually just going to update my save here. Hikawa and his followers, Hijiri told us, are flocking to the Diet Building, and we need to get there. Now, I believe if you go to the Ginza bar at this point and you talk to Nyx, she'll point you in the direction of the Diet Building. The Diet Building is through Yurakucho Tunnel, which is the station area that was besides the Assembly of Nihilo secondary entrance. You remember that place way back when we went there, and I pointed it out, so keep that in mind for later? That's where we need to go now. Yeah, you don't get great directions where to go at this point. I better make sure I've got a stoma up. I do. And let me think. I just want to think carefully about what demons I want to have in my party at the moment. I think that should be good. Just thinking, because we've got another boss fight coming up, and it's the one that I've actually done those preparations with Wukong for, so hopefully I can pull this one off like I normally do. This fight that is coming up is a bit of a interesting, I want to say it has like a sort of time trial aspect to it, and we'll get into what I mean when we actually get into it. Now, of course, the Amala terminal to the Assembly of Nihilo secondary entrance is, of course, by the obelisk, so it is much faster to just walk to this place from Ginza. You know, I got that stupidly long hallway to go through, connecting the two basements of the two entrances. Alright. So, let's just make our way along here, moseying. I wonder if that spirit says anything about, like, followers of Nihilo heading this way. Let's talk to him, just to see. Not really, only very obliquely hinting to that, I suppose, and probably more talking about the secondary entrance right there. But we need to head to that station over there in Shinbashi? Or is it in a different area? No, it's in Shinbashi. Oh, no, yeah, of course the Yurakucho station is in Yurakucho. Probably should have been able to figure that. Now, if you came here earlier, like the Ikebukuro tunnels, it would have just been blocked off until you were supposed to come here. And now that we can, the flames of the candelabrum of sovereignty begin to flicker wildly. We are upon the final fiend of the game, the last one that we need to defeat to get a candelabrum. And it is also the last sort of mandatory encounter with a fiend. You can, of course, potentially get past him if you succeed at the check to ignore the fight, but it is much like Matador and Hellbiker. He is directly in the way. You do have to pass him in order to progress with the game, so you do have to risk an encounter with him. So let me see. Got Gehenna. I really do want to have Gehenna on just to get Magma Axis, but it's not going to cover me against ice attacks, and that's actually pretty important. So, not specifically being resistant to ice so much as it is just being immune to it, so let me see. I'm actually going to equip Vimana here, which is not... well, we'll go over why in a second. And the presence of a terrifying demon. Of course we'll stay here. We're ready for a fight. Oh yeah. And like I said, this is the last fiend of the game, so after this point I'm not going to be able to put any more skeletons in my thumbnails. Kind of enjoyed doing that. I really love this entrance though, this is so cool. And Trumpeter, he is here to doot at us. He will blow on his horn, and he will cast some magic, and we will punch him in the face. I like how the music kicks in now. And the candelabrum he's referring to specifically here is actually the one we've had the whole game, the Candelabrum of Sovereignty. Yeah, your candelabrum isn't the true last one. We've got the last one. We are top dog of the Fiend world. Now, Trumpeter has a very unique gimmick, and he's going to explain it to us. When 8 breaths have spent, he will sound his horn. Of course, he leads with his first horn attack, which is the Holy Melody. It targets whoever has the lowest HP in the fight, and heals them to full, including their MP, which is pretty interesting. Now he has another melody, Evil Melody. That melody instantly kills whoever it targets, so it is very important that it targets somebody who can either endure it, or you just don't care if they die. And he said 8 breaths. That means 8 press turns, and it does not actually have to be press turns that he uses, it just has to be his turns in general. So, say we nullify an attack and end his turn prematurely, which he uses multi-targeting elemental attacks, so that is more than possible. It still counts as 2 turns, and the counter starts from when he uses a melody. So he's got 1 turn on the board, so it'll be, let me see, it'll be another turn after that, another turn, and then he'll lead with Evil Melody, starting his 4th round. So let me see. Yeah, I mapped that out, right? Yeah, I did. Okay, so we're just gonna throw a war cry on him. Now, I do know that he has Deikaja. I don't know if he has Dekunda, but he'll follow that up from... what was it? He will follow up with Deikaja after he uses Evil Melody, so I'm not overly concerned about being hit with that. Let's see. I'm gonna pass right now. I'm going to use a focus. Let's see how this next turn plays out. Okay, he's going to end his turn prematurely. Now, we definitely want to get Rakundas onto him, so I'm going to pass right there. Let me see. Do another Tarukaja. Let's see, he's at 3 turns right now, so let me see. Yeah, let's Medea instead. I need to get my HP back up a little bit. We'll pass here. We will use a punch, do some good damage to him. We'll do a Hasso Happa here. Alright, very nice. That's actually really lucky. And we'll Rakunda him again. I actually was kind of banking on the crit there for Hasso Happa, which is what I was really hoping for. Alright, so he can buff himself up. We'll definitely want to Warcry him down a little bit. Alright, so we're on 5... I believe that was 5 turns that have passed now. So next turn is going to be another Barrage of Elemental Magic. I do want to use a Prayer here to get our HP back up. Let me see, I'm just gonna... here, I'll use Wind Cutter. And let me see, yeah, I'll focus here. Alright, what's he gonna do this turn? Okay, my Zeodon is good. Next turn, he's gonna use Evil Melody. So, what we want to do is we want to make sure we get at least 2 Hasso Happas in and have, Wukong tank the Evil Melody for us. Let me see, we'll use another Rakunda here. I do want to make sure that we don't get his HP too low, because otherwise then he'll qualify. So we'll just pass there, do the punch, do the Hasso Happa. And Wukong is the lowest HP by a decent margin still, so we'll let him tank the Holy Melody, or the Evil Melody. And because he has Endure, he will survive with 1 HP, and there comes the Deikaja, just like I expected. Alright, so now we have some time to take him out before he responds with a Holy Melody. He alternates between Evil and Holy. So Tarukaja will use a Prayer from Daisojo. And we'll use a Wind Cutter here just to get some extra damage in. We've got quite a few Rakundas stacked onto him, so that should deal some decent damage. Here comes the Mabufudine, and the entire reason that I unequipped Gehenna there. Would definitely be very bad if he got any extra turns. There comes the Makakaja. Actually not too concerned about that. Let's punch him here. Let's do Haso Hapa here. Okay, and yeah, we'll Wind Cutter. So let's see, he's at 3 turns now. Okay, and he's close to dead, so let's get the focus in. Okay, Mazandine, very good. Red Rider nullifies that. That puts us at the advantage. We'll just punch him, pass. We will use a prayer. Let's hit him with Wind Cutter. There we go! That is actually very perfect. On my previous run of this game, the fight did actually last long enough for him to use Holy Melody again. And that was the whole reason that I equipped Vimana, was to get extra physical damage in on my regular punches. Not speaking of that, we're actually increasing our agility this time around. Yeah, you know what? I'll take Tempest over Chaos Blade. It's a bit more reliable. Not exactly great. Alright, come on, give me something good. No, that's not good. That's stun. That's no bueno. But that was the final Fiend, and we get the Candelabrum of Godliness. I guess Fiendness is adjacent to Godliness. Well, that fight went very well, actually. Let me just check my notes here. Alright, we're gonna actually... There is a bit more to explore, or there's a little bit to explore within the Yurakucho station, but we're just gonna head straight to the save point, and this is probably where we'll call it a video. We've gotten quite a lot done, and actually I think in the next video we will be heading back to the Labyrinth of Amala, but there is one thing that we want to check here. Now, let me see. I think it's, yes, this east stairwell here takes us down to a platform that just leads to some treasures. We'll be checking that out in the next video. To actually progress with the dungeon, we want to head in this direction. And the Yurakucho tunnel, it's a bit longer than the Asakusa tunnels, but not by much. It's still very much a mini dungeon. More Shikiojis for us here. Actually, I better make sure to get Gehenna equipped. Thankfully, I did not have to rely on Endure and proccing there. Let me see, there is Hellfire. Okay, sweet, sweet. But he can't do anything because these guys know Fizz. Let's just get a little bit of MP back for Daisojo because he sure could use it. He's putting some good work, and you know what? Let's just use another Hellfire. Get these guys out of here. There are actually a few new enemies in here, and they do give some decent experience, actually, so this is not a bad place to catch up on some leveling if you so desire. Alright, so straight ahead here, we can make it to the Diet Building. So let's go on in. And of course, he's exaggerating a little bit when he says straight ahead. There is actually quite a bit to this dungeon, and like I was trying to say, there's a bit more to this one than the Asakusa tunnels. Here is another new demon, Loas. I always want to think these guys are like a haunt or something, but they're not. They are actually night type, so you can recruit them via negotiation. Sure, why not? Oh, you like that? Of course, he just gives us expertise. And there he tells us about shuffling our fusions around to get the skills we want. Anyways, the Loas are weak to Expel-type attacks, but of course they also have Tetraja, which they did actually use there, so we cannot actually just hit them with that straight out. So you just gotta deal with that. If you have White Rider in the team, and I probably will be tagging him back in the lineup very shortly, he can, of course, God's Bow them to great effect. which is to say the same effect against everything. But yes, now we have all the Candelabrum, and we can actually get to the 4th and 5th Kalpa. The key to access the 5th Kalpa is actually the Candelabrum of Sovereignty, which is why I describe it as the last one we get. So we have all the Candelabrums to finish the Labyrinth of Mala, though we'll only be doing the 4th Kalpa in the next video, and likely only parts of it, because it is a bit of a unique Kalpa, and it has several gimmicks to it. It also requires that you do an extended side quest to actually open the path to get into the 5th Kalpa, so that's something we'll be going over in the next video, but that's it for this one. We did quite a bit this time. I did not know if we were going to have time to actually take on Trumpeter, but we did, and it was excellent. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, goodbye.